Hey everyone, welcome to this new moon Sidereal astrology forecast for the new moon on Thursday, November 4th, 2021. All right, so we have a new beginning, fresh new start to the lunar month. The new moon will be right in between Virgo and Libra. Now, if you were expecting me to say Scorpio just then, be sure to check out the link down below for more information. We're using the visible sky on this channel, which is different from mainstream astrology. All right, so new beginning with Virgo and Libra. Now, Virgo is wrapping up. The sun will be leaving. The new moon is at the very end of Virgo. With this. So definitely finalizing some things regarding improvements, things that can be improved and fixed in our life, whether it's ourself, our work, our service, personal development. It's been a very good time for these kinds of things and still will be for this new lunar cycle. But I would say completing that with the sun leaving here and now starting to incorporate some of this Libra energy for the coming weeks. Now, Libra is all about seeing the scales. It's the two sides of the coin. So seeing duality, but there's always a middle path, right? And so Libra is all about finding balance. And I think it's a great month for finding balance in our life. If there's any areas out of balance, bringing them back in. And also interpersonally as well with relationships, give and take, mutuality, reciprocity. These kinds of things are fantastic to develop during this cycle. Now, the new moon is a bit challenging because it is forming a T-square with the Saturn square Uranus we've had this year. So this new lunar month, good to challenge ourselves, particularly with whatever it is we've been building this year that we know might take time, patience, but it was also very freeing and giving us more freedom. It's been a good year for building more freedom, more change in a constructive way with this square. There's a trine up to Neptune, so it could be a bit easy to go with the flow and a bit compassionate or receptive during this lunar cycle, and still very close to Mars. So a bit of a new beginning as it has been with taking action and initiative, especially now with a lot of the planets now direct. All right, so let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here is the chart for the new moon. So the new moon will be on Thursday, November 4th, or the days surrounding there. Really, we usually feel the new moon or any new full moon a couple days before, a couple days after. So for all intents and purposes, around the Thursday time. And as you can see here, we are using the visible sky, which is the uneven constellations. The constellations are different sizes in the sky. So we are taking that into account on this channel, and it's called True Sidereal Astrology. If you are new, definitely check out the link down below for more information, because you will definitely notice the signs are different. For example, in mainstream, they are saying the new moon is in Scorpio. But if you do look up at the visible sky, you will see it right in between Virgo and Libra. All right, so let's go ahead and start with first what a new moon is. It is the ending of the previous lunar month and the beginning of the new one. So as we do approach Thursday, it's always good during the ending phase of the cycle to complete things, to finalize, to let some things go, right? It's a time of releasing and creating space. Right, space for the new beginnings. And it'll be great around the new moon to sit with it, see what new arises. This is the lowest energy phase of the cycle, and from this we can see what new intentions we want to set and what new things might be starting to unfold during this lunar month. Now, in between Virgo and Libra, from the Virgo side of it, Virgo is the maiden. It's the side that wants to improve things, be refined, strive towards some perfection and development and work and service. And this is where we've had a lot of energy the past couple months. And so in a sense, we are wrapping this up. It's still going to be carrying into this new lunar cycle, especially because Mercury and Mars are still here. But I would say in the context of finalizing things that do involve that improvement orientation. So it's been a great past couple months for personal development, building good routines or habits, maybe things involving building skills or work and service, right? It's been very good for that yearly energy to do that during that time, past couple months. And so still good to bring those qualities, skills, characteristics into this new cycle, most certainly. But we are starting to enter into some Libra energy. And we will feel this quite strongly, I think, for the coming weeks once the sun officially enters into there in a couple days after the new moon. So Libra is all about the scales. It's all about seeing two sides of the coin. that every coin has two sides, and there's always a different perspective. So good, bad, up, down, left, right, this kind of dual perspective, which we all have on life. It's just the byproduct of the physical world, the physical mind. And Libra reminds us that, of course, although we often do see things in duality, there is a middle path, and there is a way to harmonize things that seem opposite, things that seem different. There is a middle path to harmonize those. So Libra is a great time during this lunar month to see if there's any areas where we're overemphasizing one thing over the other. So it could be areas of our life, maybe work versus rest. It could be relationships versus time out for ourselves. Anything that is about this kind of duality of how we can, if there's one area that's too much emphasized, then bringing things back into balance, incorporating some of that opposite energy or more balanced approach to it. And great time of doing this. It's also the constellation that deals a lot with relating with others. So the dual energy of us and other. And so with this, it's a great time of also kind of reconnecting with our relationships. And this is all relationships, not just personal, but also professional, all kinds of even day-to-day dealings with others, how we relate with others, whether they're close, whether they're everyday, surface level, whatever it might be. And Libra is, again, all about doing the balanced thing. So if there's any relationships that are out of balance, right, doing our part, and only our part, of course, to bring that back into balance. And any energies where we can be more mutual, more reciprocating, more willing to see eye to eye, to mediate, to find some middle ground. Libra is all about coming to agreement and finding middle ground. Our needs and others' needs, they're both important, right? And so Libra is a great time to kind of readjust these things, readjust the scales, incorporate more balance in our life, both personally and interpersonally. Now, notice that the South Node is starting to enter into Libra, so it has been the past year plus of a lot of emphasis on deeper energy, collectively healing, medical energy collectively. This is starting to slowly leave. Now, this new moon is part of an eclipse cycle. We are going to have the lunar eclipse as part of the full moon of this cycle, and then the new lunar cycle after this one will be a solar eclipse. So we're gearing up for this eclipse energy, and I think this new moon is the start of it. And it's really with the South Node starting to enter into Libra, which is, again, not just in the monthly sense, but I would say in the next 12-month sense, to really start to incorporate some of that balanced energy, which we'll talk more and more about as we go through these next eclipses and such. All right, so that's the new moon in terms of the placements. Now we do have the T-square, and this is on the more challenging side. And it's an energy that we're actually quite familiar with, and so it's not nearly as challenging as when we had the square earlier in the year or in the midpoint of the year. This is the third quarter square, meaning that we're finishing up this yearly energy with Saturn square Uranus. And the last contact will be around December of this year. So what's been going on this year is that Saturn, the side of ourself and collectively that wants structure, wants things to be stable, has been in a clash with Uranus, the side that wants change and freedom and new experiences. And so it's been a great year to see how these two can be implemented and synergized and worked together. How can we build things in our life, build structures, have structure and some foundations, while at the same time getting outside that comfort zone, doing new and different things, and building more freedom into our life, creating things in our life, whatever it is, that gives us more freedom and is more in alignment with our true self, right? And in this way, it has been very constructive. So if there's been anything like that for you this year, this is a nice step in the right direction, a great lunar cycle to set some intentions, to build freedom, build life that reflects more of our true self, all this kind of thing. As we now finish up this cycle, which we could say will be officially sort of ended once we get into the new year, once we have the fast-moving planets pass over Saturn. That'll be the final sort of square there, and then we're kind of easing up out of that energy into next year. All right, but third quarter, we're usually willing to put in the work. We're starting to see more forward-moving progress. The planets, at least Saturn now, is direct. Uranus will go direct in January. So there are things moving forward and implementing for the remainder of the year, going into next year, this kind of sense of building towards freedom, new experiences, building towards excitement, and again, a life more in alignment, or some things more in alignment with our true selves. All right, so that's the most important aspect with it. Now, it will be trining up to Neptune quite strongly, actually. So there is a nice receptive energy to the new moon. It's not just the T-square. There's also a nice trine, which is supportive. And it's with Neptune and Pisces, which is usually us willing to go more with the flow and just be more receptive in general. This can be receptive to life. It could be easier to be more willing to go with the flow and see what unfolds. But also interpersonally with relationships, we can be a bit compassionate or understanding, more unconditional, right? Giving as well with the Neptune energy. And generally just more intuitive, more creative. We have a usually good synergy between our conscious self and our unconscious or spiritual self. A good link there. So it does favor things like creativity or spirituality and things like that. So a nice supportive energy to be more receptive, connect to the ethers, go with the flow, have some peace in our everyday experiences, which is very nice with this new moon. All right, and of course it is still close to Mars, but it's nothing new here. The Sun and Mars have been very close to each other for a while now, about the past month or so, actually. A couple months, yeah, almost. So with this, it's just suggesting that it is a great time to take action, especially now that we have particularly Saturn and Jupiter, and recently Mercury have gone direct. And so there is forward-moving energy, and it's just a reminder that this is a great time of the year, I think, for action and initiative, and in what has been a new beginning with more of our confident and assertive side unfolding over these past, few weeks in particular, but past couple months in general. All right, any new intentions around our needs or desires, but again, balancing that with Libra, I think that's very important, can be great. All right, and some of the rulers here, Mercury, the ruler of Virgo, is already concentrated in Virgo. Again, our minds are still about improvement and working on things, and so that's still good to do. But Venus has, Venus, the ruler of Libra, so the dispositor is giving us more information on the Libra energy, where we can be finding balance, where we can be enjoying some things, is now more on the free-spirited side. Venus is coming out of the galactic center. Any transformations that occurred late last week or early this week, it felt like some death and rebirth with our values or enjoyments or even relationship energy. Venus now in Sag is starting to be that post-transformation with our values and our relationships. So great to enjoy a bit of expanding our horizons, whether it's through philosophy, whether it's through higher learning, and quite literally sometimes travel or adventure. Great to be enjoying that kind of free-spirited energy mentally or literally now that Venus is starting to go into Sag, and that might be very much what our values are starting to shift into, more of those kinds of things in life, and what could be also good to incorporate some of the balance and some of that relationship energy with some of that free-spirited energy with relationships and such. Could be great with Venus now in Sagittarius. All right, so everyone, that is the new moon in a nutshell. Most important thing is the continuous developments with Virgo, improvements, refinement, but finishing it up, I would say. And Libra around striving towards balance, both personally and interpersonally, balancing that with our needs and others' needs with this opposition to, of course, Aries, as is always the case, and conjunction to Mars. It's a great energy to continue yearly energy regarding building freedom and life that reflects more of our true self, things that reflect more of our true self, and a bit of support from Neptune to go with the flow, be receptive, and our value shifting into this more free-spirited adventures, both mentally and literally, which can be very enjoyable, a great way of connecting with this new lunar cycle with Venus and Sag. All right, so everyone have a fantastic new moon. Thank you so much for watching this. If you are watching this on YouTube, definitely check the or click the like button, and also check the description down below for MTZ Insiders. It is a newsletter where you do get these videos released first before YouTube and extra content not normally released on YouTube. But yeah, have a great one, everyone. Thank you again for all of your support, and I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.